Hey there, this is Jonathan. In the following tutorial, we're going to take a look at building a simple landing page, at least the start of it, in Beaver Builder. Now, as soon as you've installed Beaver Builder, you'll notice it's got a lot of options. If you go to the settings of it, it's got a lot of different types of modules. It's got the ability for you to choose what type of post types, either pages, which is the default, or other custom post types. You'll also see that it has the ability for you to enable templates. And you can tell it to use all templates or just the ones that are defined by users, which I typically do when I assign this to a client. Another thing you would do is you can change user access, so different types of users only can do certain things. And then there's some icons and some tools about clearing the cache and other things like that when you might be moving it from one place to another. Now, you'll also notice that you get a menu on the left for the templates and saved rows and saved modules. This is really great because when you have different types of modules that you've saved, you can make them global so that anytime that you change one of them, you change it for everywhere it's used in the website. This is one of the things that I really love about Beaver Builder and, in general, professional level builders. Now we're going to go to a page and we're going to create a new custom landing page. You'll notice that you'll see the page builder over on the right hand side, and that little green dot indicates that the page builder is active for this page, whereas this one, it's gray because we haven't done it yet. Now I'm going to view that page real quick just so we can see that right now we're using the default template that I installed, which is the builder template we did. And of course, this is going to be a problem because we can see our menu and you can see our content is inside of the container. And what we need to do is make sure that we choose the full width template. And now I'll update that, then go to the page builder. Now, as soon as the page builder loads, you'll notice that we have nothing in here at all, and that's exactly what we should have. You'll see that it opens up this big module over on the side, and that's all of your different modules and rows and templates and everything else, which is great. You'll see that we can go to WordPress widgets or standard modules or even saved modules if we had them. Typically, we'll start off with rows. So just like we did before, we're going to do a 2-column row for our hero image, and then we're going to do a 3-column row after that. Now, do be aware about where you're dragging this because you got to be careful of not dragging it inside one of your other columns or inside one of your other rows, but dragging it afterwards. So this way it creates 2 sections, or what they use here is row instead of section. So you only have rows and columns, the way they put it. So after we've put in our first row, now we can go to the row settings. And what we're going to do is make this particular one go full width. And then our content is going to be fixed, so it will go into the center. And now we want to go down to our background, choose photo, and then select a photo, and we'll use the same one that we've used in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and select that photo. Now, one of the things that can be difficult, let's see, no repeat, center, and scroll and fill. So that's all. The fill, by the way, is the same thing as cover. So all the defaults are actually pretty good. Now, one of the problems with this particular row is that it would be nice if we had a min height that we could set it to, but we can't do that. We can set it to full height, and then we'd have the ability to put our content to the top, center, or to the bottom. But instead of doing that, in order to get the height from the top, what we actually want to do is go to the advanced and give it extra padding at the top. So if we did 400 pixels for our padding at the top, you'll see that we're essentially making sure that we push our text down to the bottom. Now, we could do the same thing if we did padding to the bottom, if we wanted our text to be at the top. If we wanted it to be somewhere in between, then obviously we would have to put padding on both sides. It's really about how you want to do it. I'm going to do 400 on the top and 200 on the bottom. And that way I can just see my icons there. So maybe 450. Now you can see I can see those icons at least on this page size. So 450 padding on the top, 200 on the bottom. Now be aware that we might want to switch between different types of devices if we need to change that padding, but since right now we're only dealing with our desktop size, we're not going to worry about that yet. All right, so now that I've got my content box here, now what we can do is go back to, let's save this, obviously. Then we'll go back to the plus, and we'll start looking at our modules. Now, before I do this, one of the things that we can do, we can drag this over to the left or to the right. If you want this to look a little bit more like Elementor, we can actually drag it over to the left, and then you'll see that we've got all the stuff in the same place. What's nice about this too is when we drag out things like our text editor, or in this case heading, I'm going to do an H1 heading, you'll see that our settings for that element goes right there on the left as well. Now obviously I can't see what the text is, so I'll say this is my awesome header, and I'm going to change the style to an H1. And of course, we can start to add in all of our text colors and other things like that if we want to change it. And we can also add in our different fonts if we want. I'll make it Advent Pro, and I'm going to make it semi-bold or bold 700. Maybe the semi-bold. Not too big. And of course, align this to the right. So there it is. There's a lot of different things to check out, obviously. We can also put in our own custom sizes if we want. Now, if we want to start leaving these things alone so that we go back and we use the size, looks like let me do the default. There we go. If we want to start using the CSS, I'm going to go ahead and save this. And the reason why is because we actually have the ability to add CSS within the page right here. And so I know that this is an H1. I just created that. So I can do H1 font size 3 REMs. Now, if it's not applying it at first, then of course what we can do, let me go back. We can always add the important class to it. And what we should see is eventually this thing changes. Oh, I think it's partially because I didn't spell it right. There we go. Might not even need the important class on there. I think we don't even need it. So let's do 2.5. So that looks like a little bit better size. So adding the CSS right within the builder is nice. If you save this, you'll see it goes right back to where you were. Now we could, of course, apply different headings. We can apply other options to that heading, but you kind of know how to do that. So it's just a matter of dragging out the element that you need and placing it in there. Now, looking at the stuff underneath, these are our 3 callouts. I'm going to look for a callout here, drag the first one in, and I'm going to do, this is the title of the callout. So there's the title of the callout. You'll see this is the information. This is the information for the callout. Typically, we'll have a little bit of text, so I'm just going to copy and paste that a couple times. So that looks pretty good. I think 4 of them would work well. And you'll see that we have some other things that we can do. We can align our text to the left or possibly to the center if we really want to. We can change our heading tag from an H2 to an H3 or something like that. We can change the size of our heading, and of course we can do all of that with CSS as well. We're going to do that in just a second. I can also change the image and select a photo that's here. Now, we've got photos that we've already used before, so I'm going to use one of those particular photos and drag it in and use that as my size. Now, you'll notice that I only have some predefined sizes here, so I can do a thumbnail, which is 150 pixels by 150, or I can go to the medium size, or I can go to the large. Well, I don't know if you remember, but we played with some different image sizes in the past, and that's something we're actually going to look at here. We have some kind of custom sizes in here, meaning a landscape or a panorama size, But to be honest, I really don't trust these default sizes that are in here. The one that is kind of cool is, of course, you can do circles. So that can be really helpful if you're trying to do pictures of people or something like that. But you'll see that I don't really get to adjust the size of things much. Let's see what happens if I go to a thumbnail and make it 150 and circle. Actually, that works out quite well. So there's some things to work out with your image sizes there, and we're going to revisit that in just a minute. I'm going to go back to the medium size for right now, and I'm not going to crop it as a circle. I'm just going to leave it on none. Now, of course, I can save this, and then, of course, duplicate this when I want to create other ones. So that I can have the multiple callouts. And of course, we would change out our image for other ones. And our image and our text would make sense with each other. Now, the reason I'm doing this is also because I'm going to change something about my images in just a moment. Let's do medium. I need to change the photo, so let's replace this with the sensor image instead. All right, beautiful. So that one's nicely in the center. This one is not nicely in the center, and that one's nicely in the center. So I'm going to save that, and I'm also going to hit done, and I'm going to publish this page. That way I can just see what we've got done so far, and you can see that we have a nice header image, and we've got some text in there. Of course, we're missing another subtext and a call to action button, and then we've got our 3 different modules. If we go back into our page builder, it goes back pretty quick. Obviously, we can take this stuff out if we don't want it there. That way we can close it. So all of that stuff is changeable if you want. And the reason that I came in this again is because I want to go and edit the CSS of the page. And one of the things to be mindful of is that it's really difficult to be able to inspect it when you are inside of it. It can be a real pain. And so one of the things that I like to do is go to preview and choose my inspector there. It just makes it easier. Now, what you might want to do is actually hit done and open up a new tab with the same exact view and put that over on the right-hand screen, because it makes it a lot easier to be able to inspect it when you're not currently in the builder. Now you can really see that, I can get easily to the other items. Now I'm going to go back into the page builder, go to the CSS, and I'm going to go back and forth between the two, trying to get to what I need, which is I want to find out how I can style the callout titles. So here you can see H3 FL callout title. So what I can do is create a new style for that, hopefully, and you'll see there we go. I've created that. I'm going to copy it, come back into here, type in that exact thing, and now I'm going to say color, and now you'll see I get the color and the changes. And of course, we can do this for anything else that we want to do. Now, that being said, we're going to go on to the next thing, which I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to publish this real quick. Now, the reason I wanted to do this is I want to go back to my theme and look at my appearance menu. In my appearance menu, down in the editor, I want to go to the theme functions. And one of the things that I've got here is a theme function that allows me to add support for post thumbnails, which is great, but also a function to add image sizes. I commented mine out real quick, and so you might have yours uncommented, but we're going to uncomment that. And here's what's going on. The first one is going to set a new size for our post thumbnail images. The next ones are going to add new sizes called banner large and banner small. Now, what's cool about this is that you would update this, and if you were in Elementor, you'd go back into the page builder and you'd be able to choose those sizes. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in Beaver Builder. So we need to find some other code, and there's some code that you can find on adding custom image sizes, and you'll see the first part of that code right here is what we just did, which was adding image sizes. And now what we need to do is add this filter. So we copy that, go back to our functions, and at the bottom of our functions, make sure that we paste that before we get to the last question mark and bracket, which ends our PHP code. Then we can update the file. And now when we go back to our pages, I'll go to the Beaver Builder page builder. And now for these items, you'll see I get to choose those new sizes. Now, the problem with this is that these sizes may not have been created when I first uploaded my images, because I didn't have that image as an actual size when I first uploaded it. What I really need to do is go back. I'm going to discard any changes for right now. And we need to install the regenerate images. And now I'm going to go to our regenerate thumbnails plugin. Then we need to go back to our tools, regenerate thumbnails, and regenerate the thumbnails for all of those image sizes. And it will take it for a minute. It'll take it just a second. Now, you want to be very careful about regenerating your thumbnails. The reason why is because if you've done a lot of design and you've cropped thumbnails, which we're about to do, then you'll get some really serious issues, because you would have just changed all of the graphics on your particular website, which could change the way that your designs look. And so you have to be very careful about regenerating your thumbnails after you've done design work. You really want to do the image sizes and get that figured out early in the process so you don't accidentally mess up your site. Now, while that's taking time to do it, I'm going to create a new tab, and I'm also going to install another plugin. That plugin is called Crop Thumbnails. This is an awesome plugin. You can go to the settings of that plugin and you can see that we can choose different types of image sizes we do or do not want to show on different things. For example, maybe we don't want people to be able to edit the thumbnail and the post thumbnail. We only want people to be able to edit the banner large and banner small sizes. I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to leave it as it is, and hopefully we've generated all of our assets. Now, the reason that I'm doing both of these pages, I'm going to go back into my landing page, and let's look at the images that I have here. Number one, I'm going to go ahead and choose the new image sizes. So I'm going to use the banner small, and I'll go banner small. And it looks like these image sizes were actually pretty close to each other. Let me go take this one back to the thumbnail real quick. So you'll see it is switching image sizes, and I do the banner small, and we get what we want. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm concerned with the image right here and the fact that it doesn't have a nice crop. If I go back to the image and I go to edit, you may notice that I have a crop featured image. It might allow me to do it. It might not. I've found often it doesn't allow you to do anything when you're in the builder. So I'm just going to keep it as it is and hit save and publish this page. And now I'm going to come back to my media on the other tab, find that image, which is this one right here, and crop that thumbnail, crop featured image. And now I can go into the one that I want to change, which is a banner small. And I'm going to move this over so that I get a crop that centers that image a little bit better. So I'll hit save crop, and then it will crop that image. And you'll notice these images will refresh when the cropping is done. Now, this one right here was saying that the original size was actually a little bit smaller than my banner large, but that's okay. I'm going to allow it to do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and close that and close that. And when I come back to this page and I refresh, watch what happens. Hopefully that image will change. Now it might take a couple times refreshing. This is just one of the things that can be a real pain with images. So I'm going to go back into the builder, go to it, I'm going to go ahead and replace it by going back to that image and choosing it again. Banner small. And there you can see the new image. Now, eventually that proper image would have come up. Just sometimes when you switch out images, it's really funny when you do crops. So that's actually a lot that we've just done. Hopefully it gives you just a indication of different skills that you can use as you're working with this builder. It's a really, really awesome builder. And as we get to full websites, you'll see where the power of Beaver Build really exists. It's awesome. So thanks, and let me know if you have any questions.